this felt great. I've been waiting for this moment for probably 3-4 weeks at least. Already from the beginning, right? It was clear that these guys are the strongest person in the anime. They're not the king level, right? But they were, you know, bosses, like well-trained, super veteran guys, right? And opposite the Miranjyo, blah blah blah. But they were all, you know, super elite people, right? Like, here's the best sword guy, best spear guy, best ninja rogue guy, and so on. Yeah, they were all like the best, right? And you cannot wait for them all, of course, combine their powers, right? Especially the last probably 3-4 episodes. It's been very obvious that they're gonna come together to find Okken, I would say. Because I mean, I kept saying that last reaction to it. Like, oh, where's the guys? You gotta come together, right? You gotta come and save them. Yeah, I kept saying that. So, it of course, as a negative as positive has to be fair here, it was predictable. Of course, predictable. Like, I think me and everyone else assumed that the guys were gonna come together, right, and fight him and maybe win. But it was really nice to see them come together. Up is running, right? So you get the feeling of something is happening. It's a trust text. It's a ski. He's coming at him, right? Like a Mika ski or whatever. Going at him. You get a feeling of like urgency and power and so on, right? And you kind of have the camera from Okken's view, I guess, right? Up this net. This is fantastic. So then we kind of change to Up's perspective instead, right? And we see him pushing Okken with his spear because he trusts him, right? And then we see Doshi coming running from the other angle. So I think this was a really good Sakuga, because the game was that the depth filler. Like, this is not a 2D world, this is not an anime, it's basically like reality, right? You see him pushing him, and then the other guy comes running from the other angle, we see him getting closer. This gives you a really good perspective view while he's pushing, and it's really well done, right? Because while he's pushing Okken, Doshi also running towards him, right? So you get the kind of I guess visual Doppler effect, because it's moving in, you know, in twice the kind of speed, right? Because it's both moving at you and you are moving to it, right? So Doppler effect is if it sound right, but the Doppler effect is different because so you have basically the Doppler effect is that when you hear a sound source, the sound source is different depending if it's coming to you, you were coming to it, right? If you were moving or you're both moving as well. And this kind of gives you the same feeling, right? That because they're both, everything is kind of moving on the same time, it feels very fast paced and, you know, the Sakuga feel to it, right? And so Doshi swipes, right? You see Up going from the background. A lot of these things, right? Doshi swipes at him, Naps attacks him, then we see Domas coming in too, right? So they get this like really cool, they really get like I feel like a really cool like a 4D fight if they keep running around him, right? And doing different moves on. Yeah, it's really nice. So anyway, there's Sakuga review. Very good Sakuga. I would say easily the best fight so far in this anime. It has some really good fights, right? But certainly this anime is mostly emotional fights, much more so than... Again, goes to Limbo, I think is the right word to call it, right? So Limbo is the area between heaven or hell. It's kind of where you go before you either go up and down, right? It depends a little bit on the religion, but usually Limbo in typical Christian religion, right, is that you're stuck in this world, that's kind of where the word Limbo comes from, right? And you're kind of in between two places, and some souls go there because they kind of been like, I guess like an anti-hero, you've done good and bad stuff, and they can't really decide where you go somewhere. This feels very much like Limbo. Like, you see KAGE in this river, and if you go over the river, he goes to his mom, right, and then he dies, and they enter heaven, I guess. It also could be hell, I suppose, but they go to heaven, and this was like, you know, again, this anime is so tragic, right? Of course, KAGE didn't die, was great, but at the same time, this scene was really like wholesome and tragic at the same time, because goddamn KAGE is so happy. It's like, oh gosh, it's all happy, you know, mommy, right? It's all happy getting over there, and we see Bojji and Despa like, no, KAGE-kun, you're gonna die. So yeah, it was a very like sweet, wholesome, but also sad at the same time. Right? He meets mom, and it seemed he actually met mom. I think it was interesting because, of course, later on we're gonna see Miranjyo coming in too, right? So it feels like he actually saw mom. First it was a little unclear, I felt, if he was just, you know, going crazy, right? Can I just imagine his mother? But I think they actually had a conversation. His mom is like, you go and get them, son. So he gets like a little pep talk with mom and so on. Mom, right? So they have to actually be next to heaven, right? And she was pissed off though. For some reason, Bojji's Kashan is angry at her. I wonder why. It felt really straight, honestly though. Like, Miranjyo has killed a lot of people, right? And first we saw her own mom. That makes sense, right? KAGE saw his mom. But why is he seeing Bojji's mom for? Yeah, I wonder what it actually meant, because it felt a little bit like, hasn't she killed like a lot of people during her, you know, her shit? And yeah, sure, she also betrayed Bojji's mom. But her story then certainly has to be more explained, right? I mean, we know the obvious fact. She's in love with Bosse. So of course she hated, in that sense, right? Bojji's mom, because she was sleeping with Bosse, right? So it's typical, you know, net a rare hen storyline, right? To the extreme, certainly. But still, though, there has to be something more. Why did she betray Bojji's mom? And also, of course, why did they betray her for? Why did they betray her, right? So I guess there definitely has to be some more flashback explaining specifically the relationship between her, Bojji's mom, and these mercs and so on. It has to be something more there. It can't only be that she was just jealous, right? That she was, you know, smashing Bosse. It has to be something more than that. Also because, again, they betrayed Miriano. So it is more complicated, this storyline, certainly. As everything in the anime is much, much complicated. But, yeah, seeing his mom there has to mean that there is something that she feels she betrayed her. Because, I mean, it's interesting that, you know, if she killed Healing, would Healing be here? I think she just hates Healing, right? I love this scene. I shouldn't laugh at this genocidal woman, this basically Aaron Light, but this scene was kind of hilarious. So KAGE is like, I'm not gonna thank you because you first killed me, but actually, I'm gonna thank you. Thank you, Miriano. She's like, I'm not gonna save you again, okay? I'm not gonna save that boy either. I hate you guys, okay? I don't care about you. I just love she's went full Sundra. I didn't heal you because I like you or anything. I don't even care about you. I love this scene. Oh, come on, I can't be the only guy. This is almost arguably the best scene when Miriano is like doesn't want to admit that she wanted to save KAGE, even though she took over the abandoned body and healed him and bring body and so on. But she still wants to talk like, no, I don't care about you. I don't even like you. She's adorable. But certainly building up some kind of Miriano redemption arc, right? And one thing that coming to later here is that we saw, of course, how she got, not how exactly, but I mean, she got, you know, her arms and so on. But the whole Satan thing hasn't been explained, right? She clearly met Satan and saved her, of course, from these evil Yakuza people. But it has never still explained in her backstory. There's still something in between this, right? Her mom and this thing happening, because this thing with Satan, right? I mean, you have a scene with in her flashback. She just, I think stuff that is meta is funny. So I have to say I couldn't not crack up a little bit in this scene because it just really reminded me, of course, of Attack on Titan, right? Like, obviously, just because. So let me explain that, right? If people know it, but I can see a joke coming here easily. No, but I just, you know, huge Titan guy, right? Of course, his son Daida is voiced by Yuki Kaji, right? That was Aaron. And if you follow, of course, Attack on Titan, you know about Aaron and Greece and so on. So I felt it was just like, I felt it was a little bit like, it felt a little meta there. Daida is watching the flashback with Miriano. So he's seeing his father explaining kind of how he killed him, right? Because he's also listening to this with Bebin. And I can't be the only guy thinking of Titan. I was like, this is Aaron's voice actor. He's seeing his Titan father killing people. I was like, yeah, you go, Dad. You, his father. It's like, I'm sorry, but come on. It's just like, it's just so obvious. But anyway, yeah, there's a little bit still a mystery there. Her soul gets redeemed by this thing, right? And she becomes like a nice girl again, I guess. And regain her face and body parts, loses the mask. So it certainly feels like somewhat of Miriano's soul is being redeemed or whatever, right? By having this different thing happening to her. I guess mostly her soul is being purified or whatever, not actually by whatever Bojji and KAGE is doing so actually losing the fight, but probably more so that she is like helping them, right? And by her caring about them, her soul is like, I don't know, becoming nice again or something. I guess so, right? Like when she healed KAGE, I guess her soul got partially redeemed, right? Something like that. So it feels like the anime is going for a Miriano redemption story to some extent it is. At least on a soul level, right? Like her soul will go to heaven because she's gonna... I think it definitely leads into that she's gonna heal Bojji, right? Miriano will probably heal Bojji in the... after they defeat Oken. Because they mentioned that, well, there's not a person that can heal Bojji, healing that mana. Someone can still heal him. They didn't say who, but I guess Apis and so on knows that Miriano can heal. So he was like, oh, we can still heal him by, you know, defeat Oken and then Miriano can heal him. So, yeah, and by healing Bojji, she's gonna somehow redeem her soul more, right? And I think she will do it for many reasons. Obviously, she sees her own mom in Bojji. That's clear. But also, even though she's like, well, Bosse, his family hinders him and blah, blah, and so on, she still loves Bosse, right? And Bosse did love Bojji, right? Like, he really loved his son. So, I think in the end she's gonna be like, well, I can't let, you know, boss's son die, but he really loves his son, so I'm gonna heal him, right? So something like that, and then her soul is gonna be somewhat redeemed, right? Kingal goes into this thing that reminds me of Cuphead. Yeah, Cuphead. Good game, almost as hard as those. I used to actually rewatch and see when the guy gets stuck on the trailer or whatever. Totally, I mean. But certainly this god, he might be number one, right? He might be, if he's gonna be the first king, number one king, because he has more screen time than other gods, and he's clearly the one behind the ranking of system, right? He's talking that the humans have now got magical powers, right? They can kill gods, so our rule is over. We can't just rule the humans by, you know, our system anymore. So he's clearly gonna create the king system. I mean, that's very obvious. And but I guess the first system, they had different gods being kings, and they were kings instead of gods, I guess. So, I mean, they were gods, but they just called kings probably. I guess so, right? I think his idea is that if we call ourselves kings instead, and the strongest person could be king, gods are the strongest, right? So I think it's gonna be basically he's probably just let you know, let's call ourselves kings, right, and rule the humans, and I think we are humans, it's strong, right? So he's probably just rebrand. He's like, let's rebrand gods to kings. Then they will respect us because they don't have the crown, right? So I think this is the beginning of the rank system. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually the first king then, number one king. He seems to be the strongest god, right? And also, I guess, the smartest god. So he's probably like retaining the number one power. And also, he looks very similar to Satan, I guess. So he also might just be a god, right? Part of their system. That being said, though, I mean, obviously, bosses wasn't a god, and the other kings. So I guess the gods eventually lost their rankings. I guess they lost their duels against humans or giants or whatever, right? Took over their power. But for a while, I suppose the first kings were actually gods, and then they got lost to humans, right? That means that even if this guy isn't the number one king, I certainly would expect number one king to be a god, right? Given this backstory that the gods who actually created the king system, I think that strongest king should be a god, right? That has, you know, retained his like power rank or whatever. Which probably is this guy then, given he has the most screen time of the gods, right? So yeah, this is probably the first king. I think that makes perfect sense. But anyway, guys, subscribe to of course tomorrow we have Black Clover. Vanita, and of course harem, yeah, billion booby harems, and. Now check out, of course, today we had Arifurata, that a lot of ecchi. Oh my god. And of course, One Piece. That was not a good Yamato chapter. Certainly. Anyway, see you guys and have a great day.